Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. Today, we are going to have a serious reality check about the prospects for these rookies coming into the league this season that have had very little practice so far with their teams and no preseason games. We need to talk about it. That's what we're going to do. So here we go.
Listen up. It's time for the Fantasy Maverick podcast, starring the guy who's going to help you win that fantasy championship, Jimmy Maverick.
Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. And today we are going to talk about doing a serious reality check in regards to these rookies and what their prospects are this season, given the fact that they have had very limited participation with their teams and there's going to be no preseason games. There's some big impacts here for these young players. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I wanted to give you a little update on what's going on my breakout league. Now, this is my first draft of the season. It's a slow draft, and I got to tell you, man, it's been going great. I mean, it started out even better because I was given the first draft position, okay, and I was able to trade away my number one pick for the number 9 pick. And then I also got his 3rd round pick and his 4th round pick as well in the trade, and a 10th round pick, which I haven't gotten there yet in the draft. But anyway, so what it ended up with is I had 7 picks in the first 50 players. So that was just great. And so my strategy has been sort of a modified positional dominance strategy. Now, I talked about positional dominance like about a week ago, and how I only do it for smaller teams. And positional dominance basically just says go early on an elite tight end and an elite quarterback. So that's what I decided to do with my extra picks, is get myself my elite tight end and my elite quarterback and then draft as I normally would. And I got to say, really ended up with a very, very nice team. I really like it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, and this is my analysis of the players. And here's who I've ended up with. So I started out, 9th pick, I took Drake. I took Kenyon Drake. And then I circled around in the 2nd round, and I got Le'Veon Bell and Robert Woods. Woods is my wide receiver 1. And then I took Patrick Mahomes with my bonus pick. So I'm like, yay, that's great. And then it circled around again. And again, I got 3 picks in a row. So I took Zach Ertz. I took Courtland Sutton. And I took Kareem Hunt. So very, very nice trifecta of picks there again. Then circled around again. And I actually ended up trading up like 4 picks to grab Ronald Jones because I really like the Tampa Bay offense this year and I really want a piece of it. And unfortunately, I was sniped on Chris Godwin in the 2nd round. So that was fine. So now I have Ronald Jones, and then I just finished my 7th pick, which was Jarvis Landry. So this is my team. This is who I got going on right now. And I just want to show you just how strong this team is. Now, the first thing is, if we look at the value rankings on these players, I've got 7 of my 9 players rank inside the top 50. And so that means I have 1/7 of the top 50 players on my team. That's an amazing advantage over every one of my opponents. And then the 2 that aren't in the top 50 are very close. Kareem Hunt, Ronald Jones, 56th overall, 69th overall, and because this is a PPR league, you will find that most of the running backs are undervalued. I mean, these guys are both really good pass catchers, and they're still undervalued. And you know, going into these rounds, you look at some of these players, and they're already have value ranks in the hundreds. At this point in the draft, we're still only at pick number 75. So I just wanted to show you that. And then also look at the reliability of my players. Look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 high reliability players on my team, and then 3 mid reliability players who I'm very comfortable with middle reliability, but no low reliability players. Look at consistency rankings. Every single person is a 5 or better, and most people are a 7 or better. This means you can trust these players on a week-to-week basis. They are going to produce at a consistent level week to week. They're going to be a part of the game plan. That's what I like to see. And then also on the Outlook ratings, well, Look, I got 3 5-stars, I got 2 4-stars, and 2 3-stars. Then my 2-star players are, it's Patrick Mahomes and it's Jarvis Landry. And even with the fact that they're 2 stars, which for me is just kind of like, it's like a yellow light. It's like, no, that's not great. I don't like to draft players with 1 star. These guys are still going to produce. Jarvis Landry was such a deal. I cannot believe that I got him in the 7th round. And the big reason is because look at his value rank. Value rank is 36th overall. So at my pick number 75, I took a guy with a 3rd round value, which is just an unbelievable bargain. So anyway, super happy with this team. I've got 6 picks left. I got to take a defense, and I'm going to take 2 more wide receivers, and then probably 3 more running backs. So that's kind of my overall strategy for finishing out this draft. But I got to say, man, if you haven't done so already, go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. Check out my app. You can try it out for free. You just have to sign up. You can try it out for free, and if you like it, you can subscribe for only $19.95 for a full year, unlimited number of teams that you want to use it for, and I'm telling you, it's going to make a huge difference for you on draft day. You are going to be able to make the absolute right decisions at each and every pick in your draft, and that's the nice thing that it does is it just breaks it down round by round, and it puts all the best rated players, the guys that rate highest on those 4 key stats: value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. It ranks. They score points based on how well they score in each of those positions. Those points are added up. That gives you what I call the VORK score. The players are sorted by their VORK score when you're in draft mode. So when you're looking at the 4th round of your 10-team league, you're going to see you're going to see all the players between your 4th round pick and your 5th round pick, but instead of being sorted by their draft position or a value rank or anything like that, they're sorted by the VORK score. And so you just want to focus on people at the top of the list. And what I like to say is, find players that score 40 or more VORK points. If they score 40 or more, they're a good choice. But of course, you want players that score as high as possible on that score. And it goes up to 100. But it's very hard to find players at 100. I said when I did my thing on the positional dominance, when I did my last podcast talking about teams with great offenses and bad defenses, I talked about Curtis Samuel is right now the only guy on my list that scores 100 VORK points just because he's available so late in the draft, and he really is a good value at where he's being selected. So I'm betting Curtis Samuel is going to end up on my breakout team. That's probably going to be one of my last picks. But anyway, so let's get to talking about the rookies, and we really need to have a reality check about what's going on with these rookies. And the big thing is obviously the news this week. The NFLPA and the NFL have agreed to terms for the preseason. There's going to be no preseason games. They are going to open camps as normal, which is very, very good. But when it comes to these rookies, man, this year, more than any other, just because of what's happened with the pandemic, these rookies have gotten virtually no work with their teams. Okay, there was no rookie minicamp. There were no OTCs. There are all these programs that are designed to help these rookies learn the system, get used to NFL speed, conditioning, and conditioning they're probably keeping up with very well, but learning the playbook. Earning the trust of their quarterback and their fellow players, showing the coaches what they can do. None of this has been happening. Nothing with these rookies. And so because of that, that's going to hinder their development this year for fantasy football. And, one of the big things that I like to say, especially when it comes to running backs, the most important skill that a running back needs to have to become a starter in the NFL is pass blocking and blitz pickups, okay? That is the number one thing I look at with running backs coming into the league, is how well they're doing with that. Because if they are not doing well with pass blocking, guess what? They're not going to see the field. And you see it all the time in the NFL. You'll see that there is some subpar running back out on the field, while a guy who is clearly much more talented, much faster, much shiftier, is sitting on the bench. And you're pulling your hair out. You're going, why in the world are they keeping player X on the bench when this crappy running back is still out on the field? And I'll tell you why. Is because that crappy running back can pass block. It's because that crappy running back can pick up the blitz and help protect the quarterback. That is the most important thing they need to do in order to see playing times. And every single one of these rookies now is at a significant disadvantage versus players that are already established on their teams. And so, let's talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? He's the number one rookie running back coming off the board. He's coming off right around pick number 24. And right now, man, I would not take him. I think it's going to be a real problem. Damian Williams is going to be the starter. Now, as far as what will happen over the course of the year, yes, I do anticipate that Clyde Edwards-Helaire role will grow as the season goes on. But I got to tell you, man, when you draft a team, you want to draft a team that's ready to go on week one. And to think that, I might have to wait a month or 2 months for this guy that I took in the second round or third round to start producing for me, you've just put your team into a hole that is going to be very hard to dig yourself out of in the second half of the season, all right? And so if I have a choice right now, man, I'm going to go with Damian Williams. I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm not going with either. I'm not taking either. But Jonathan Taylor is another example, man, a guy that's going in the 5th round of drafts. And guess what? Marlon Mack is on this team. Marlon Mack is going to be at a big advantage over Jonathan Taylor, despite the fact that Jonathan Taylor is clearly a more talented running back. Marlon Mack can pass block. Marlon Mack can pick up the blitz. And Marlon Mack is a decent runner, and he can get decent production. Cam Akers in LA. I'm looking at Darrell Henderson right now. I really like Darrell Henderson as an alternative. DeAndre Swift in Detroit. I think Kerryon Johnson has an advantage there. And of course, I just told you in my draft, I took Ronald Jones. I love Ronald Jones this year, man. Holy crap. I'm so excited that I got him on my team. That's why I traded up to get him, because I was afraid he was going to get selected before my next pick. But Ronald Jones, first of all, 2 really good reports came out about Ronald Jones this week that I was very excited to see. First is he put on like 10 pounds of muscle during the offseason here, which is great. He's up to like 220 now, much better playing weight than at 210. And also, the dude's been playing with Tom Brady. He's been catching passes from Tom Brady, okay? Guess who hasn't? Keyshawn Vaughn, okay? Keyshawn Vaughn hasn't done anything yet with Tom Brady. So this, again, for Ronald Jones, for me, I see Ronald Jones kind of the same way that I saw Noshawn Marino back when Peyton Manning was the quarterback. And that is, I think that Ronald Jones can become an explosive RB1 this year. On this offense, in this system that they're building right now, I'm super excited for Ronald Jones. I'm so psyched that I got him on my team. Really, I think the upside is tremendous on that guy. But, and then finally, J.K. Dobbins, right? And J.K. Dobbins was one that I was like, we've got literally a 4-headed monster in that backfield, plus Lamar Jackson. So the role for any of those running backs is going to be very limited anyway. But, Mark Ingram gets a nice advantage here over the incoming rookie. So like I said, man, you just got to be really, really careful. And in my app, I did have a couple of players labeled as breakouts, like, Akers and Swift and Helaire. I had them all labeled as breakouts. I actually removed the breakout designation on them because, again, it's just not going to happen. It might happen later in the season, but you got to figure these players are probably going to be about a month behind of where they normally would be in any regular season that we've seen in the past. And the same thing is true for the rookie wide receivers. Rookie wide receivers are always, I'm not big on drafting them just because they usually don't start to emerge until the second half of the season. But if we say that they're going to be a month behind, of where they usually are in the past, that means we're not going to see these players emerge until like week 12. Right at the end of the fantasy football season. You do not need to draft any rookie wide receivers this year. Because of that, and CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Jefferson, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Reagor, man, I really like these guys. There's a couple that I really, really want. But you know what? I'm not even going to bother drafting them this year. I just don't think it's worth it. Established players have a massive advantage over these guys. And, to a lesser extent, the established players have an advantage over the free agents, the ones that switch teams in the offseason. I already downgrade the free agents a little bit when they switch teams just because of the adjustment period. But you got to think the adjustment period is going to be probably a little bit longer than we would expect it to be because, again, they haven't had as much time to get acclimated with their new team. So just be cautious this year. If you want to take a chance on one of those rookie running backs, go ahead, draft one, right? Just pick one that you like, draft him. Don't draft any other rookies. Just stay away from them. Just roll the dice with one. You're limiting your risk, and then the upside is very good on some of these players. But I'm going with the established guys. I'm going with the guys I know I could count on for volume and consistency, and that already have a relationship on that team, a relationship with the coaches, trust of their quarterback. That's the most important thing this year. So just like I said, for most purposes this year, just stay away from those rookies because I just think you're going to be severely disappointed in what they're going to be able to do, especially early in the season. And you don't want to handicap your team like that. So, so that's it. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So, like I said, camps start this week. That's great. I'm very excited about that. Finally these teams will be able to get together and start playing, start practicing, which is very, very good. But this is not a season like any other season we've been in. And because of that, you've got to adjust your strategy to reflect these realities. And in my opinion, I'm going with the established players. I'm going with the reliable and consistent players. And just like that draft that you saw there, man, I'm notice how I'm not taking. I didn't take any player that switched teams. I haven't taken any rookies. I'm just limiting the risk, and I'm taking advantage of the upside that's available, like the fact that Jarvis Landry was available in the 7th round, which is ridiculous. His floor is a RB2, a rock solid RB2, and yet he went that late. It's crazy. So anyway. I will be back on Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure my draft will be all wrapped up at that point so we can look at the team then. But shoot, I'm super happy with what I got right now. I'm just working on the bench. That's basically what I have to do is fill out my bench. And then I've got my first team ready. And I got to tell you, man, I think this team is championship caliber. I was looking at the other teams, and first of all, I've already got 2 more players than every other team in the league. So I've already got a big advantage over everyone else that's drafting. But even though I've seen teams that have some really good players that I really, really like, that I'm sorry I didn't end up with, I don't think it's going to be enough to overmatch the team that I'm going to bring each week, that I'm going to roster each week. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching. Hey, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, like, comment down below. Love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions about any of these players, we can talk a little bit further about them. And so in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon. See ya.